Hello everyone. This is something I've been planning to do for quite a long time now, and I'm quite happy to finally get to do it. For a couple of years I've been collecting chess tactics problems that I found funny, instructive, easy though hard to see or remarkable for any other reason. And what I'm about to show you is my favorite selection of thousands of positions that I looked at for tactics trainings. And don't expect anything along the lines of constructed chess puzzles. These are practical positions coming from real games, mostly played by players rated over 2000. The way I'll be presenting this is I'll show each position, give you 2 seconds to stop the video, and then quickly show the main lines. I expect most people should be thinking about these for about 2 minutes. You might want to write down variations. In the end, you should know the one and only best move you would play in that position, and all variations arising from all sensible replies from your opponent, as well as a basic plan how to win the position at the end of the forcing sequence. If you aren't sure that you can win one of these positions, try playing them against an engine. I will include all FENs. And without wasting any more time, let's get started. This is black to play. I will not be telling you what the result is. It might be a draw, it might be a win, it might be a mate. You never know. And please stop the video now. So I will be revealing this. Black wins, and that is by playing king g5. The rook check also wins, but that is only because black can still play king g5 after the rook check, which achieves nothing on itself. So let's look at king g5, and white can do nothing here. White can take the pawn, and this rook falls. White can take the bishop, and this rook falls. And white can move the king, and black queens, and white has to take, and this rook falls. So let's look at this variation. And here white has to stop the queening, and here, which you should have calculated, black should just take the pawn, and this position is winning. If you aren't sure how to win this position, play it against an engine. It's not that difficult, of course, but oh well. So, and also just to show you what I meant by knowing the basic plan in this position, if you were considering a move like rook h3, this is actually a blunder because it's a draw. White just plays e7, and this is a draw. You should figure out why it's a draw as well. That was the first position. Let's get to the next position. Here you are playing white, and you just played rook b1, attacking this pawn, and black decided to take the pawn on d3. And please stop the video now. So in this position, white plays queen c2, and this is threatening the rook, and also the mate on c8, because this knight is covering f7, and the only sensible move for black is rook c3, which we can take. And after black recaptures, we can just take the queen, and we are winning here because it's a rook up and black has no counterplay. Yeah, alright, let's get to the next position. This is black to play, and please stop the video now. Alright, this one's actually really simple, but might be hard to see. So both queens are under attack, and the really simple way to deal with this is just this check here, and after king moves, just take the queen. Next position, black to play. Please stop the video now. So you should notice that white has set up rook, queen, and another rook on the same diagonal, and you can play to defend your knight, which is attacked, just d5, threatening this skewer. And white is actually helpless against that. For example, white could play something like f5, and here we just play bishop c5. And after f takes, we play bishop takes. And now white can do anything really. For example, the engine suggests rook takes e4, and here we can just take the queen, for example, and well, this is obviously winning for black, right? Is there anything else you might suggest for white? You could suggest just rook takes e4 right away, which still runs into bishop c5, for example. And note that moves like e5, for example, don't work, obviously, because white can just play rook takes e4. Yes. Let's get to the next position. White to move first. White has two possible choices. White can play g4 or rook d4. And let's look at g4 first. Please stop the video now. So here the move is just knight e4, which is mating. And white can do nothing against rook f to h8 mate. There's nothing white can do. And the alternative after rook to d4 is just this check here, which forces rook to h4. And now black plays rook e4, which threatens knight f2 mate, and there's nothing black can do to prevent mate here. For example, you can play something like taking, and this is mate. And if he plays this, for example, then we can just take the rook, and that's mate as well. Next position, white to play. Please stop the video now. So this position, black's king is vulnerable, and white just plays rook c1, which attacks the queen and threatens queen d7 mate. Queen d7 check. Note that the white queen is defended, so counter-attacking the white queen with any of these rooks doesn't work because white just takes the queen. And g5 also doesn't work because we just take the queen, and on taking we can take this rook. So only thing we have to look at, besides the engine suggestion just exchanging queen for rook, which is obviously winning for white, is for example queen to d5. And here we check, and we have two possibilities. One is rook d7, which we can take and take this rook, which is winning. Or for example something like king to g8. And here, which you should have calculated, we can check again with a rook. And again, if rook d8 here, we do the same thing. We take and then take this rook. And if it decides not to do that, but instead to go king g7, we can just mate. Queen mate. White to play. Please stop the video now. So in this position, white plays bishop d6 check, which is the only move that wins in this position. All other moves give white a disadvantage. And black has two choices, king d8 or queen takes d6. And on king d8, white can play queen takes f6. And on king c8, which is the only move, we take the rook, which is actually mate. And so let's look at the main line, which is queen takes. And here we can just take the queen. And here, however, which you should have calculated, black can play rook takes c2, check. And white should take this. And here the best move is rook d1. And the second best move is rook b6. Note that king takes here is actually worse for white, because in this position black is actually pawn up and white's knight has to run. Alright, next position, please stop the video now. So this one's actually fairly simple. First move is queen takes f7, and after bishop takes f7, which is forced, we take the bishop, and this is mate. Alright, next position, please stop the video now. So congratulations to you if you were writing this down, because White actually will have a lot of responses in this one. But the main idea is pretty simple and obvious. So the only move that gives black an advantage is bishop takes d6. The main point of this is that white actually can take this. Because if rook takes d6 happens, we can take this knight. The reason we can take this knight is that now this rook cannot be taken. If this rook is taken, we just mate with rook a1 check, and after white gives both rooks up and blocks with the bishop, we play bishop h3, which is the basic tactic in this one, which you had to see, and white cannot avoid mate. So note that white has other options. For example, white could also play something like rook f3. Did you calculate this? So in this position, basically anything is fine for black, but the best moves are either king g7 or bishop e7 is fine as well, I guess. So let's look at bishop e7, for example. And here, white could play rook takes f6, but after bishop takes, rook takes c7, black can play rook takes c3. And this sort of thing happens all over the place. I hope you calculated all the lines. Most of these variations actually, after bishop d6, all moves win for black. So there's no need to be too precise, except for on rook takes d6 you have to play rook takes here to keep an advantage. Right, let's get to the next position. Last one for this video. I will be making more of these. I thought 10 per video is a good number. So this is black to move, and you are facing this way, so your pawns are about to queen here. And stop the video now. Alright, so the only move that gives black an advantage here is g2. And obviously white can take the rook because we queen with check. So white will probably play e7 check, which you should have calculated. Now here, you should play king f7. King e8 wins as well, but it's worse because white plays bishop c6 check, and now king f7 is forced, and after white queens we have to take this, and after this check, for example, we can take this pawn, and in this position black is winning. However, well, it's not that easy because you have to play here rook g8 check, and after something like king h3 you actually need to play this check here, for example, and this requires a bit of endgame, but it's winning for black. If you aren't sure how to win this position, try it against an engine. And if we follow the main line, which is after the check, we play king f7, which gives even clearer advantage to black. White would probably play bishop d5 check, which you should have calculated, and now we can just take this pawn. If white decides, which you as well should have calculated, I assume you didn't, but keep that in mind, under promotion to a knight here. And here you should actually play, which is by far the better move, superior to rook takes, king e7. Now white is forced to take this pawn, and we take this with check. After king h3, for example, we can just take this pawn, and this is a clearly winning endgame. For example, if knight to g7, we can just play king f6, and this is a pretty easy endgame. You should be able to win this. If you aren't, try it against an engine. For example, if knight e8 check, we can just play king g5. And there are no more checks, and knight is in a terrible position, far away from the king, cut off by black king, and it will be captured. And the white king is in a precarious position as well. Black has a pawn as well. And if this check, for example, we just play king g5, and white can do nothing here. For example, if he plays knight g7, we play something like rook e2, blocking the knight from these two squares, and white is helpless here. Alright, that's it for this video. I hope you like it. I think I'll be doing more of these, because these actually weren't the most interesting positions I have. I was just doing them in the order I had them in the database. And thanks you for watching, and see you next time.